Okay, so I need your advice. Someone has asked me to send them money and I don't think I should have to. And I don't know what the right thing to do is here. So basically, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. Friend from college is getting married. She is not from the town she's getting married in. It is where the groom's family and where the couple now lives. So wedding is there. Almost all of brides, college friends and family members and everything are coming from out of town. My partner cannot, it's a black tie wedding. My partner cannot come because of a work commitment, so I'm going solo. I text the bride and I say, hey, if anybody wants to, are there other single girls who might want to split, for, safety purposes to just not be alone, but two, for cost purposes, I would love to split a room with somebody. We could get a nicer room and, whatever. Venue is at a hotel and their rooms are $600 a night, but they were gorgeous. And it's in the mix of everything. So it's it'd be really nice if I could just split a venue hotel room with one of these girls. So I text a few girls, whatever, settle on one who I know probably the least, but I've never had a reason to think that she is shifty. I don't know. And I knew her all through college. I was never close to her, but I knew her. So I text her and I'm like, hey, do you want to do this? And she says, venue hotels are out of her budget. Totally fine. But if we could get something that's closer to $250 total for 2 nights per person, that would be great. So that's a Hampton Inn. And that's fine. I'm not mad at a Hampton Inn. I'm happy to save money, especially if I've got a person with me. I don't feel as bad about being at a hotel that's a few blocks away and substantially less nice. I don't care because I'm like, oh, I've got, safety and I'll save the money, whatever. So I booked the room. It is $500. I pay it right then and there. And then I text her, I say, okay, booked it. We looked through options. We talked about different places and that was what we settled on. So I paid for it. And then she said, okay, well, I can't pay you my $250 until I get paid, which is next week. Is that okay? I said, sure. I have a choice, but I said, sure, that's fine. So she pays me a week and a half later, whatever. During all of this, we're talking about, I'm like, when are you getting in? Do we want to get brunch? Do we want to get dinner? Whatever. She's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to fly or drive or take the train because the flights have gotten expensive and I don't know what I'm going to do and blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, well, just keep me updated. Okay, so Monday before the wedding, it's on a Saturday. Monday before, she texts me and says, hey, I'm actually not going to be there for the first night. I'm going to drive overnight or take the train overnight or something. So I'm not going to be there for night 1. Can you send me $125 back? I say, okay. And I just sent it back because I didn't want to argue and I was uncomfortable. And yes, you're kind of screwing me out of that money, but whatever. So I send the money back and I also was thinking you would have, if you drove through the night, you're going to get in at, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's not a long drive from where she's coming from. So it's well, what, are you going to wait until 4 p.m. for check-in? You're going to come straight to the room that I've already paid for and use it. So it's it's a day. I should be charging you a day rate, but whatever. So anyways, that's Monday before the wedding. Friday of the wedding, I am in the airport waiting to get on my plane and I get a text that says, hey, I tweaked my back while I was packing my suitcase and now I don't think I'm going to be able to drive. So she said, I don't think I'm going to be able to drive, so I'm not coming. She straight up told me she is not coming. I said, oh no, have you looked at the flights or the train? Again, I get it if you can't drive, but the flight should be 45 minutes. Have you looked at that? And she said the flights are too expensive and whatever. I was on my flight at that point when she texted back. So I texted her back when I landed and I said, bummer, have you talked to the bride? She does not text me back for the rest of the weekend. I'm like, well, that's the last I'm ever going to hear from her. She screwed me out of 125, but I've still got her other 125, whatever. She texted the bride because the bride texted me and was like, hey, did you hear she might not be coming? She sent a text to the bride that was a maybe, I might try, but I don't know, da, 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 da. And when the bride texted me, I was like, girl, I don't think she's coming. I went and talked to the bride in person because I didn't want to, send it over text, but I was like, she's not coming. This is the text that she sent me. We compared our text messages, whatever. The text to the bride, she said, I'm going to try, but I'm on the phone with urgent care and it's not looking good. I'm like, girl, what? Anyways, so she goes, so she's not there. She doesn't come. We don't hear anything from her. She never texts me back about talking to the bride. What's done is done. It's a gorgeous weekend. So then Monday rolls around today and I get this text. Hey queen. No, come on. Let me read it. Hey queen, I hope you had a great time at the wedding and I hope that you're home safe. I hate to ask you this, but since I couldn't go to the wedding this weekend, I also couldn't work, which doesn't make sense. And I don't get paid until Friday. Could I have the money back and then just send it to you after I get paid? And I had to flip back and forth between screens. So I might not have gotten the words right. I'll put it up. Girl, what? And I don't know what to do now because it's $125. So it's not going to break me. But the principle is you screwed up my plan. You screwed I picked the hotel because of you. I didn't pick because of me. I didn't want to stay at the Hampton Inn, but I picked it because of you. And then you screwed me out of 125 and I didn't say anything. Then you go and screw me out of the experience. I'm by myself. I'm walking, downtown in a big city by myself because I'm staying in a shadier hotel by myself and staying away from all my friends. Not a single friend was staying in that hotel. And you've screwed this bride now out of over $500. This is a black tie wedding. This was not a cheap wedding. So and it was the kind of thing where the bride was couldn't she have done this a week ago? Literally every single piece of this is done. This is less than 24 hours before the wedding that you're telling me you're not coming. So now I'm in this position where I don't want to give her money back. She does not deserve it, but also she's already screwed me out of money. And you don't know anything about my financial situation. So for you to sit there and basically ask me to float you a loan and one, expect me to trust that you're going to send it back when you are such a flake. But two, I paid that money months ago. You screwed me out of money I paid months ago and you're asking for it back today. It's not this is just sitting in my Venmo balance, or my Apple Pay. So I don't know what to do because I don't want to text her back. I think if I send her the money, if the right thing to do is send her the money, I will have to say, you screwed everyone over and you made an ass of yourself. So enjoy your $125 and never speak to me again. Or I don't send it back, or I don't text back, or don't send. I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do or say. And everyone is kind of in agreement that, like, don't send it back. But then, like, what's she gonna do? Go hungry this week and it's my fault? But it's not my fault. Help.
Tell me why my friend called me. She said, I need you to come over to my house right now. I'm about to confront my boyfriend for cheating on me. With the quickness, I went over there and I got to the house and she had dinner table set up. And she was like, come sit down. We're about to have dinner. I was confused, but I sat down and we had meatloaf, mashed potatoes, some Brussels sprouts. It was a very nice dinner. But the whole time I was a little uneasy because she was just too calm. You just called me and said, you're about to confront your boyfriend. What's going on? We ended up having a great dinner. Once it was done, she cleaned up the place and told us to go sit down in the living room. She said, I want to watch my favorite movie for colored girls. Once we got to the living room, my friend started playing the movie, but she fast forwarded to Janet Jackson's scene. She played it and rewinded and played it again 5 times before Marshall, her boyfriend, finally said, why do you keep doing this? Suddenly, my friend's phone was connected to AirPlay, and on the TV screen was Marshall's big booted butt on that screen, bent over for another man. That video only played for about 5 seconds until Marshall got up and punched the TV. Now the whole room is silent. My friend is sitting there with her arms crossed. She's waiting for Marshall to say something. But when I realized nobody said anything, I decided to say, you didn't have to punch the TV.
I accidentally blew up my entire family when I was 16, and nothing's been the same since. So growing up, we only had one bathroom, and we had 2 sets of towels. The towels that me, my dad, and my brother were allowed to use, and then like the good towels that only guests and my mother were allowed to use. One day I get out of the shower and there's no more regular towels, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna take one of the good towels. And immediately when I grab one, this little pouch falls out. I recognize this pouch. This pouch is the exact pouch that my mother used to give me for the tooth fairy. So immediately I'm like, why is this here? Obviously I know it's, but I don't know what kind. I'm 16. I know nothing about nothing. My brother had recently moved back home, so I just thought it was his, but he says no. We obviously know it's not my dad's because my dad is a health nut. He doesn't drink. He works out every single day. We just know it's not his. And my mother is already an alcoholic. So we just already know. My brother wanted to handle it himself, but I felt like it was my responsibility since I was the one that found it. And so I said I would tell my dad. I put it back where I found it. I tell my dad, and my dad goes and finds it for himself. Later on, my dad tries to bring it up to her, and immediately she is defensive, lying, swearing up and down that it's not hers. And it gets to the point where he says, literally, do I have to go to the kids and every single one of the kids' friends that have entered this house and ask them if this is their... She breaks down, sobbing that it is hers. It's only been one time. Obviously, she's lying. And just has this whole dramatic sob story, right? My dad was trying to protect me, so he told her that he was the one who found it because me and her were already having issues. She was being extremely manipulative, controlling, and constantly trying to pit me and my dad against each other. And because I was 16, nothing I said was ever valid. So with all of this going on, I was freaked out. I didn't want to talk to my friends, so I talked to my cousin, who was like one of my best friends. And he tells me, I'm so sorry you had to find out this way, but it's kind of a known fact that your mother gets down like that. So apparently everybody knew but us. About a week later, my dad calls me and he tells me she knows it was you who found it and told me. Your cousin told his mom, who then told your mom, be careful, watch out, she's coming for you. She gets home later that day and I will never forget the look she gave me. She was giving me the nastiest death stare. And she gave me the death stare all the time, but this one was special. She's slamming things. She's staring at me while she's slamming things. She's just being super passive aggressive. And I already know what time it is. Like, she's just gonna be coming for me for a very long time. So the next day I get home from school and she's gone. She packed her bags, didn't tell anyone where she's going, and she left. We assumed that she went to my cousin's, and she did, because later that night, her side of the family starts blowing me up. Mind you, I'm 16 and they're blaming me for everything. My dad takes my phone and he's like, absolutely not. Like, these people are being crazy. You're not dealing with this. And who cares what they think? Then my aunt, my godmother, sends me a message saying that she's known since I was a child that I was evil and manipulative, that all the problems in my family stem from me, that I'm a brat, and basically that this world would just be a better place without me, and that she's lived with an addict for an endless amount of years, so I should have just accepted it. And I just want to clarify, my mother being an addict isn't what makes her a horrible person. Even if she was sober, she would still be a horrible person because that's just who she is at her core, honestly. But anyway, hearing that from my aunt when I was already struggling with not wanting to be here anymore was a lot. Where I grew up, teens unaliving themselves was truly an epidemic. And if it wasn't for my dad literally dropping everything that day and coming to pick me up from school and making sure that I was good, I can't say that I would have made it through. After that, me and her family have had no relationship, and that was the beginning of the end of me and my mother. So me and my brother have been no contact with her for over 11 years, and she's never truly tried to make amends with us, and she just continuously paints us as the villains and blames us for everything. So yeah, all of this happened because I grabbed the wrong towel.
Okay, so my boyfriend of 4 years left me abruptly and started sleeping with his ex-coworker not even a week later. And she is currently TikTok famous for being cheated on her husband while she was pregnant and gaining a lot of sympathy from people online and talking badly about the mistress that he left her for when she is basically doing the same exact thing to me. Let's talk about it. All right, so for the sake of the story, because I don't want to say their real names, even though I could probably figure it out. Let's say my ex-boyfriend now, his name is John, and her name is Kara. Okay, so John and Kara used to work at the same place a little while back. I knew both of them, and yeah, they worked together for a little while. Kara was left in about, I want to say September or October, early October of 2024. And she called John, who was my boyfriend at the time, and told him what happened. And, you know, I didn't think too much of it because they used to work together, they were friends, you know, she's going through something. Makes sense to want to share that. So then John, I was planning to be out of town because I had a work trip, and John tells me that they're gonna go have lunch while I'm out of town with another couple that I do know and trust. So, you know, at first I was like, well, I want to go to lunch too. I want to see everybody and, you know, be there. I know all of them. You know, why can't we reschedule the lunch for a time that I will be home? And he says, well, no, that's when everybody can go. That's the time we agreed on. It's not up to me. I was like, okay, I mean, sure, I wanted to go, but if I'm not going to be here, that's the time you guys agreed on. I guess I'm left out of it, whatever. So they go to lunch. I don't know if anything more happened at that lunch. I have no proof of that, but the things that happened after that do kind of lead me to believe that maybe it was more than just a lunch. But so yes, basically, so that was in October. Our 4-year anniversary was the end of October, so we went on a 4-year anniversary trip. And John, in our early relationship, had told me if he was with somebody for about 4 years is when he would propose, because he thought that was a good time to propose to somebody. So I'm thinking it's happening soon. You know, to me, he was my everything. I would do anything for him, and I did do anything and everything for him. So I accepted him for all of his flaws. We all have flaws. No relationship is perfect. So I was happy and ready to spend the rest of my life with this guy. So yes, we have our 4-year anniversary. Then we go on a trip for his birthday, which is in December. A week after we get back from, sorry, I had to change. So basically a week after we get back from his birthday trip is when he leaves very abruptly. We had just gone out with some of our friends whose birthday was the night before. Yeah, so when he told me he was leaving, we had just returned from the store, and he tells me in the kitchen right when we get back from the store, I'm not happy, I want to leave. And I was shocked. You know, I tried to ask him all the questions under the sun. Basically, all the information I got from him is that we want different things, and he can't give me what I want because he doesn't want to get married or have kids or, you know, all this stuff. So he's doing me a favor. And I was like, at the time, I was like, no, if you're doing this for me, don't do it, blah, 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 whatever. Long story short, he leaves. About a week later, I am invited out to a brunch with some girlfriends, and Kara is there. And at this point, I don't know about anything of her between her and John, but I see Kara, and I know she had just gone through a similar situation, being left by her husband pretty abruptly. I was just left by my 4-year relationship very abruptly. So, you know, I sat down, I, you know, confided in her, related with her, you know, told her that me and John used to watch her videos, and, you know, we felt bad for what she was going through. And she was like, oh, don't feel bad for me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, thought it was a weird reaction, but also didn't think much of it at the time, until I find out a couple days later that she had been sleeping with John ever since he left me, basically. So, and so when she sat there next to me, smiled in my face, all the while knowing, yeah, that she was with my ex not even a week after he left. So to me, that is just not good behavior, especially when something had just happened to you, and you're obviously very upset and hurt by that, and you even said in your videos that you don't wish that on anybody, and then you turn around and do basically the same exact thing to me. And, you know, so I can't stand by and stay silent while she has, you know, a nice big platform and is getting all of this sympathy, where she's just really being dishonest with all of her followers. So this is my side of the story. That's what I have to say. There's going to be more. There's definitely more to the story, like if I want to go into detail of why I think more happened at that lunch, and you know, just little things. And even right now, I know they're still sleeping together. She put a link to his business, his financial business, in her bio. So he's trying to capitalize on all of her followers. So yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like dishonesty, and I just don't think it's right or a good way to treat people, especially when you know how it feels. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. I will be posting more. Feel free to ask questions. You know, I've been keeping quiet, and now I'm just over it. I'm over the whole situation. I didn't ask for this drama. I didn't want to be put into this drama, but here I am. And yeah, it's a situation I've been forced into, and cheers.
Story time, my best friend slash roommate sleeping with my boyfriend. Let's go. So about 6 months ago, we all moved in together. We've known each other for years, so it was all good vibes. It wasn't awkward. This is a picture of me in this lying, manipulative. At the time, I was going to class like 3 days a week, and the other few days I was doing like Zoom classes. So one day I was out, and I get a text message from my friend, and she's like, hey, I need you to come home now. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, don't panic. And I'm like, bitch, I got anxiety. I'm panicking. She's like, there's a problem with your man. Like, just come home. And I'm like, okay. So I get home, and she's like, don't be mad. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm not mad. I just don't want you to be mad. It's okay. But while you were gone, like, he was flirting with me. And I'm like, fuck you mean it's okay? So I'm like, I want to go to talk to him, and he's like denying everything. And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't really know what to do here with the way like her energy is about it, and like the way he's like, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm like, okay, my main thing is I don't want my friend to be uncomfortable. So she doesn't seem to be uncomfortable. So me and her go out to eat. We talk about it. I sit down and talk to him. We all talk, and I'm just like, you know what? Things will come out in time. I'm just gonna give it time and see how this plays out, because I can't really pick a side right now. I don't really know the details. And a few weeks go by and everything's fine. So I thought, And I get a weird message from her while I'm at school, and she's like, hey, can you tell this man to take out the trash? And I'm like, I'm in class right now, babe, but just go ahead and ask him. And she's like, I'm not gonna do that, blah, blah, blah. And it just turns into this whole thing, and I'm like, I can't deal with this right now. I'm literally at school. Let's talk about when I get home if you have a problem. So she ends up not coming home for like 2 days, doesn't talk to me. Then when she finally comes home, she's acting like nothing happened. Everything's normal. And then I get a weird message from her out of the blue. I think I have it. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So she goes, let me know when you're awake. I need to talk to you. And I was up. I was like, okay, I'm coming. So we go out there, we talk, and it just turns into a super heated argument. So I dismiss myself. I go back in my room. I'm just crying because I'm like, I'm so stressed out with school. It's finals. I don't need this. Like, it's just too much, right? My man at the time is like, just go take a shower. Like, don't let her stress you out. Just go take a shower. But then I get another message from her, and she goes, can we please step outside and talk? I don't want to talk shit about. It's just very private, and it's nothing that's going to affect your relationship. It's a present, but my anxiety is high, and I'd like to give it to you alone. And now looking back at this, like, she's so demented. She called this a present, okay? A present.
I'm getting ready to go out. I'm about to start doing my hair, and I was thinking I'm gonna just start airing all my business on social media because no one's gonna do anything about it. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story of probably the worst thing my ex ever did to me while we were together and I still stayed. It's so bad. I probably have told this story to 2 people maybe because of how bad it is. I never wanted to tell the story back then because there was always a possibility. In my head there was always like a possibility that I was gonna get back with him, but I don't give a fuck about none of that anymore. There's like 0 possibility now, so I might as well tell a story. This happened in the year 2022. I want to say no, it was not December. It happened in February of 2023. Backstory, I'm from Hayward. I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from Hayward. My ex was from San Jose, but at this time I was living with my ex in San Jose. And one day my mom invites me to go to a baby shower with her, and I wasn't doing anything that day, so I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, I'll go with you to the baby shower. So I take his car because I didn't have a car at the time. So he lets me use his car, and I drive to Hayward, and my mom and I drive to Walnut Creek for the baby shower. Am I talking too fast? And I don't know why I was already so anxious. He didn't have any plans for that day, but I just had like a super bad feeling the whole time I was out with my mom. I was like, bro, something is gonna happen. Like, I already know. I had already had problems with him prior to this, so I didn't really trust him. I tried to for the most part, but you know how the brain works. Like, I did not trust him. I know I have George Washington curls right now. Don't pay attention to it. I'm gonna brush it out at the end. The whole time I'm at the baby shower with my mom, I'm like super anxious. I'm like, fuck, I do not have a good feeling. I'm super uneasy like the whole time I'm there, and I leave from that party with my mom like around 8. And I'm zooming on the way back to San Jose. I'm texting him and he's not answering. He's with one of his friends that, oh my god. Every time they would hang out together, I would be fucking sick. Like, they wouldn't even have to be doing anything. I would just be so sick because I already knew how his friend was. Well, I'm telling him that I'm on my way back. He's not answering, so I'm like, what the fuck, bro? And I'm calling him. He's not answering. Mind you, I have his location, and his location is at his friend's house. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why? What could he possibly be doing that he's not answering? And my phone was dying. I didn't have a freaking charger in this car. So I'm zooming from Walnut Creek to San Jose. He's not answering. My phone is dying. I don't have a fucking charger in the car. On top of my phone dying and me not having a charger in the car, the fucking car was running out of gas. I didn't have no cash. I only had my Apple Pay. I get to Santa Clara and I pull up to his friend's house because I'm like, okay, that's so weird. You're not answering. I'm gonna just pull up. At this point, my phone's dead, so I don't call him telling I'm pulling up. I just pull up. Get to his friend's house. His friend's little brother answers the door, and I'm like, oh, hey, is such and such here? And they're like, oh no, they went to the store with my brother. And I was like, what? Why did he fucking leave his phone here then?
Now that I no longer work at my old job, I want to do a story time on a very famous rapper who tried to ruin my career and ruin my life. I worked at a department store, men's designer specifically, and I was commission based. I was working one day when a man approached me asking for help picking out a jacket for his music video. He was very nice. We ended up picking him a green Bottega jacket, most beautiful jacket I've ever seen. It was about $6,000. He bought it. He left. My coworker came up to me and was like, do you know who that is? I said, no. They showed me his Instagram, and I ended up following him. He had a lot of followers. I'm like, this is going to be cool. He's shooting a music video on this. I would love to see that. It's great. So he ends up shooting the video. The jacket looked amazing. The video was cool, good song, good energy. Yeah, awesome. Well, not awesome. A week later, I see him walk in with his girlfriend, baby mama now. She was starring in a very big, well-known Disney movie at the time, so she was very popular at this time. Well, they wanted to return the jacket. I had to tell them, no, you cannot do that. It was not fun. We ended up going back and forth over this, and I had to tell him 3 reasons I could not return this jacket. The first reason was it was smelling like cologne, very strong cologne scent. The second reason, it smelled a lot like smoke, and neither of these reasons were good enough for either of them. They were going back and forth. I told him that it's worn. The third reason, it was worn. He looked at me and he said, you cannot prove that. And I said, actually, I can. And I pulled out my phone, pulled out the video, and I said, this you? He was speechless. He was speechless, and his girlfriend did not like that. She said, this is extremely unprofessional. This is something that you do to all of your clients, like just very, very livid. And I explained to her, you guys are public figures, very well known. He told me he was shooting a music video. This is a public video posted on YouTube. Yes, I saw it. Yes, I pulled it up because I am commission based. I know it was worn. I cannot take back this jacket. It is a $6,000 jacket. It is against our return policy. I am not able to accept this. I could get in trouble. I'm very sorry. Explained it to her many times, explained it to him. It was just getting very heated. It created a scene. 3 of my coworkers started coming, trying to defend me. It was not going down. It was getting worse and worse. My manager stepped in, helping me, and I actually said, I'm going to remove myself. I did not feel comfortable anymore. It was not heading into any direction that I wanted to be a part of. So my assistant manager stood there, and I told him, I'm going to remove myself. If my assistant manager would like to return this, he is absolutely welcome to. I personally cannot take back this return because I can get in trouble. It is a very expensive jacket. It's worn. It smells worn. I can't. I am so sorry, but this is policy. They ended up leaving. My manager said no, he had my back. They went to different departments, tried to return it. It was denied all over the store. They ended up winning. It sucks, but they went to a different location and returned it. It's fine. I expected it to be returned, just not by me. I didn't care because I did not want to get in trouble. I did not want to take the heat for that. It's a big no-no to return designer stuff. I guess that wasn't enough for him because he took to his social media to post the receipt of this jacket, and with the receipt he wrote a very crazy message. With this receipt, it showed my first name, the first initial of my last name, where I worked, the address of where I worked in the department, and in that photo he said my first name, all of that information, and said I was racist and I called him the N-word with a hard R. I did not do this. I had 3 coworkers there, 2 of which were black, my assistant manager, and if I had done this, I would have been immediately fired. I worked a year after that. The store manager ended up apologizing to me for what he put me through. It created a month of harassment. 1 month of his fan base, to his millions of followers, going to social media, to Yelp, to Instagram, to TikTok, calling me racist. They started showing up at the store in groups looking for me. It was very scary. They started calling the phones, and if I answered, I was being cussed at, yelled at, threatened. I had to be walked to my car when I left because like the groups would be kicked out and they'd still be waiting. They found my social media, and it did not die down for a month, and maybe over a month. It was very damaging, and I thought it was insane behavior because you are abusing your platform to try and ruin somebody's life who is just doing their job. I thought that was the craziest, most erratic thing in the entire world. It turns out that they ended up doing this to somebody else. The girlfriend's sister and him, the rapper, ended up going to a nail salon and doing something very similar and calling this lady racist, but she ended up telling her side of the story, and they were called out for it very publicly. I can't get over this because they came in with an AP watch, Disney money, fighting me, wanting to return a jacket. I am just doing my job. I cannot take this jacket back. Like, it's my job, and you're trying to ruin my life and say very damaging, real accusations for what? Over a jacket you ended up winning. Like, why are you trying to ruin my life, my career? Like, that's sick behavior. That is crazy, and I think it's crazy that he has such a big platform to this day that he's able to do that, and that they will probably do this again. Yeah, so that was a fun time in my life. I'm fine. Working in a department store, it was never a dull moment. Yeah.
My mother-in-law once told my husband, choose her or me, and that wasn't even close to the worst of it. I think it's time I tell my side of the story. It's been 15 years, so if you see me looking past, it's to my iPad because I made a timeline. But let me start at the beginning. For privacy, I'm going to call my mother-in-law Penny and my husband Colton. And the crazy part is I actually knew my mother-in-law before I even met my husband. She had been a server at the Olive Garden for years, and I had just started as a hostess. I was also in college. She was nice to me. We worked together just fine. She did used to walk around, though, showing pictures of her son to the female servers, saying, "Look at my son, he's so handsome." And I did not want any part of that. She already obviously had a hand in his love life. About a year before, I had gotten out of a really toxic relationship, and it was a really bad breakup. So I was in my hating men era. I just wanted to go out, have some drinks, not deal with anyone. That relationship changed me. I stopped being the quiet girl who let people walk all over her and became the honest, headstrong bitch you see today. And looking back, I think that's why me and Penny, we were always going to clash. I just didn't understand that yet. So one day, Colton walked into the restaurant. He had just graduated and got his degree and wanted to show his mom. And I was the first person he saw because I was a hostess at the stand. And I know it's cliche, but something was different. He wasn't like the alpha possessive male type. He was calm. And at that time his mom was really nice to me, which makes what happens later even stranger. So not long after that, he Facebook messaged me and we hung out. We went to grab some food, and then we went with a group of my friends from the Olive Garden to this abandoned limestone quarry. It has tunnels and rock formations, and everyone would say it's haunted because in 1918 there was an explosion that killed 50 men. So it was like this local haunted spot that people would go to. So we did, and the more I hung out with him, the more I realized I liked him. And then our first date, we headed up to the Adirondacks, and we hiked like just a little mountain. And it was fun, and it was easy. So we started dating, and that's when his mom's energy completely changed. I started spending a lot of time at his house because his house was about 10 minutes from where we worked, and he worked at Red Lobster, which was practically across the street. And my house, my mom's, was like 45 minutes away. So it made sense. And that's when the problems really started. It was little comments, like snide remarks, digs, silent treatments, just bad vibes. And then the whispering at work, like these 40-year-old waitresses whispering at work. And she suddenly needed him home all the time. He was working, he was in college, he was trying to date me, but she wanted him there, alone, always. Penny has epilepsy, and epilepsy is real and it's serious. Chronic illnesses are real and they're serious. I've had my own health struggles. I'm not talking about someone's diagnosis. I'm talking about behavior, because being sick doesn't make you cruel, it doesn't make you lie, and it doesn't make you hurt the people around them. And that is the pattern that I started noticing. The more independent Colton tried to be, the more often something would suddenly happen that required his immediate attention. Every time he tried to build his own life, working, going to school, spending more time with me, there was suddenly an emergency. He was expected to be available all the time. Even though Penny had a significant other, Even though Colton was working and going to school, the expectations placed on him were constant and unfair. And at the time, I didn't realize what I was looking at, and I definitely didn't understand what living with epilepsy was like. But later, I learned something that made everything click. His dad's girlfriend spilled a little tea and told me that growing up, anytime Colton's dad would take him and there was another woman, especially when there was another woman around, Penny would call and say she's sick and needed him home immediately. Once they were in Pennsylvania and they had to turn around and drive him back home. She had done it his entire life. This is not random. It was when her control started slipping, and that is the pattern. So, as she started saying she was sick more often, I tried to be helpful. I would bring over movies from Blockbuster. I would bring over wine. I would sit with her, and we would hang out. And I'll note, she drank the alcohol just fine. And one night, I went over and cooked a big dinner for everyone. So, there was me and Colton, Penny, her significant other Max, and Colton's younger brother. I cooked chicken parmesan, salad, bread, like the whole works. At one point during the night, Penny started talking about this girl that Colton worked with. Her name was Brooke. She told me how beautiful Brooke was. She told me how sweet Brooke was. She told me that she just knew one day Colton was going to marry Brooke. As I was sitting there, as his girlfriend. We had been together for months. She said it while he wasn't in the room. And that's when I kind of realized this wasn't about me fitting in. It was about me being in the way. And that was kind of when I started thinking she didn't see me as a part of the family. She saw me as competition. So, after the Brooke comment, I sat there kind of startled. What do you say to that? We're in our 20s, we're dating, that's normal. And the more serious we became, the worse it got. Shortly after that, Penny had a birthday barbecue. And there was a girl, we'll call her Madison. Madison had started as a new hostess at the Olive Garden, and she had a little crush on Colton. She had actually asked Penny if he was single. And so Penny invited Madison to her birthday barbecue, which is odd because she was brand new and they didn't know each other. So throughout the day, Penny would keep positioning them side by side, grouping them together, encouraging conversation while I was standing next to him. So at some point we had realized she did this on purpose and we left. And that's it wasn't about disliking me. She was actively trying to replace me. So then they started calling for family meetings. We would sit down. It was Penny, Max, her significant other, Colton, sometimes his younger brother, but most of the time not, and me. And it wasn't a discussion though. Max dominated the room. He's this big Italian guy who really loves being intimidating. So he didn't let anyone else talk. He talked over us. It was not a conversation. It was a lecture. There was no attempt at understanding our side. There was no back and forth. It was very much our way or the highway. They said I didn't have to be with Colton all the time. Penny said I disrespected her. Penny said I'd never be as important as she is and that Colton would never choose me. And that's when it started clicking for me because in the beginning, you're like, what did I do? Why does this woman hate me so much? But the truth was Penny never hated me for something I did. The real problem was that I was not someone that can be controlled, and I wasn't going to let her control her son either. So Max then sent Colton a long email, which he did all the time. He would send long emails ranting and raving. And I wish I still had some of them because they were truly awful. In it, he told Colton we are not a package deal, that I would have to earn a relationship with them. And he told Colton to stop jamming her down our throats. And that's when they stopped using my name. I became her. Not Caitlin, not Colton's girlfriend, just her. That's how they referred to me in texts and in emails. Just her. As I said, I was in my early 20s. I did not have a lot of life experience. I hadn't handled dynamics like this before. She's in her late 40s. I wanted to come into a family and be a part of it. You want your boyfriend's mom to like you. You want her to think you're good enough for her son. And the strange part is she did before we started dating. And then once we started dating, that changed. I was never treated like someone welcome. Not at the beginning, not in the middle, and not now. And honestly, those first few red flags were nothing. A few months later, Penny did something that made it clear she never wanted me in the family.
So I feel like my friend was trying to embarrass me. You guys tell me if I'm tripping. We'll call my friend Jessica, and the guy in the story, we'll call him Keith. Me and Keith have been crushing on each other real bad. And one day he's like, hey, we've been, doing this back and forth thing. let's hang out. I'm like, okay, bet. Let's, see how things go. Jessica is my friend. Her and Keith know each other because they have mutual friends. And sometimes once in the blue moon, they happen to be in the same area because they kind of have the same friend group. Jessica texted me and said, hey girl, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. How are things going? I said, I'm good. I'm actually seeing Keith tonight. So while I'm shaving, doing my hair, I'm just doing, all the girl things to get ready for, I can be very vulgar when I like someone. I mean, truthfully, I can be vulgar in general. And I was texting her the most absurd things about him. I was like, he's so fine. I can't wait to swallow his kids. I'm going to sit on his face. I can't wait to gawk him. We're going to fuck all night. I'm just saying, the craziest things because this is my friend and I should be able to text my friend my intrusive thoughts. A few hours later, Keith texts me and says, hey, am I still seeing you tonight? I said, yes, you are. And he goes, I saw what you text Jessica, you're wild. Excuse me? I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I know my friend did not tell you that I want to gawk you. And he said, yeah, Jessica told me what you said. You're crazy. Why would you do that? Immediately, I text Jessica and I'm like, hey girl, why did you tell Keith what I was saying about him? And she said, oh, I didn't tell him. He was standing next to me. Keep in mind, I told you they have mutual friends. So once in a while, they're in the same area. She goes, he was standing next to me. So I just flipped my Apple Watch over so he could read the text. Why would you do that? And she said, well, since you and him are hanging out, I didn't think it was that big of a deal for him to read those text messages. So in true Karika fashion, I politely go off on her and told her I think that was a very dumb move. You're trying to embarrass me and I don't really fuck with that. Next thing you know, Keith is like, Karika, you're being way too hard on her. She didn't mean any harm. Don't stop talking to her. And I said, why the fuck are you guys conversating about the situation? I thought you guys weren't friends. He says, we're not friends. I don't care about her. I care about you. I know you guys have a solid friendship and I don't want you to ruin that over something dumb. My feelings are not dumb. I think the entire thing is suspect and there is no reason for my friend to be flipping her Apple Watch over to let someone I'm interested in to read messages that I said about him. I think it's weird. Do you guys think it's weird or am I just tripping? I don't like it too much. I don't like that.
Fuck everybody else drama. Let me tell y'all the drama that I'm going through. All right, boom, story time. So I got a call this morning from my friend and she like, oh, I'm really sorry to bring this up to you. Mind you, y'all, I'm slow. Like, I'm halfway slow. I'm not all the way slow, so I'm not really catching on to what she's saying. Like, I'm really not getting it. I'm just thinking, like, yesterday was her little daughter party or whatever, so I'm thinking we doing a recap or whatever. So she like, yeah, girl. Again, I'm not reading the phone. I'm not reading the call. So she started telling me about her best friend or whatever, but to me, her best friend seemed to always got an issue with the night. So I'm just listening. Coming to find out, the best friend got an issue with me again. Let me take it back, all the way back, y'all. 28 years old. I met her best friend when I was 22 years old. We went out for her birthday. Y'all do the math how long that is. First met her best friend when I was 22 years old when we went out for her birthday. That night, I was real drunk. I was on a mission. I was trying to cheat on my ex at the time because I was going through my own shit. So I was on a mission. I wound up getting to the spot before them. So me and my other friend was drunk way before them. They missed the 2-hour unlimited brunch. So I was done. Boom, they finally come. I'm already lit. They catching up or whatever. We having a great night. So I thought. Night in, the next morning I get a call from my friend and my friend like, oh yeah, what happened with you and my friend or whatever. I'm like, what happened with us? What I did? Oh my God, what happened? Cause I'm like, I'm drunk, but I'm a happy drunk. I'm a friendly drunk. When I'm drunk, I love my worst enemy. Like, oh my God, bitch, that shit ain't even that serious. Like, I'm that friendly when I drink. So now I gotta go on Snap. This is how long it was. I don't even fucking got the app Snapchat no more. This is how long ago. So now I gotta go on Snap and I'm going through all the videos. Me and homegirl got mad videos together. So now I'm really confused. She like, oh, you said something to her about some boy. I'm like, what? And she talking about the boy that I was dancing with all night. And I told her that that's the boy that I'm planning on cheating with my boyfriend. I was like, oh yeah, that one is mine. But the other ones, you could get them. They cute. She mad over that. My friend go, yeah, girl, I guess. I'm like, okay, but I'm not thinking of it. I'm not thinking nothing of it. Little petty, that's not beef. That's little petty shit. I'm like, oh nah, that was nothing to her. Like, I was drunk. I was just trying to cheat. Like, I was not really, that was not me coming at her. Like, I was playing. Like, feel me? I was on a mission. Boom. Now fast forward years later, this was Easter. This year, Easter. Boom. We always planning to go out. Y'all know I stay with my godson. So I'm a mother too. So when my friends with their kids playing mother things or whatever, they already know I'm down with the shit too because I'm mommy. We was planning to all do something with the kids or whatever, but then my friend like, oh yeah, I'ma just do something separately because best friend said that she just don't want certain people around her daughter, woo, 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 whatever. I'm listening again. I'm not thinking nothing of it. So she going on, yeah, she just don't want negative energy around her daughter, woo, 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 woo. So I'm like, yeah, I feel her, but who she talking about? Because ain't everybody like, who got beef? She like, you, me. Oh, but you must not really know me, because once it's fuck you, it's fuck your kid too. Like I truly don't give a fuck, because that's exactly why. I already know the timing that mothers be on. They can't be their pride and joy. That be the only thing they accomplish in life. That be the only thing that they can hold against people. Like if a person like me actually give a fuck. I don't. Sums that conversation up. That basically for me to let me know, all right, this girl clearly don't like me. Clearly me and her got an issue, or clearly she got an issue with me. She don't like me. It been years later. She don't like me. It is what it is. All right, cool. My friend's birthday come up, but now that I got this information that you don't like me, I'm gonna be cordial. But now my friend is telling me, my friend is nervous, like, oh, please be cordial. I'm like, girl, I don't have a problem with this girl. We could be cordial because there's no issue. There's no issue. There's no beef. You could never make me be around a bitch that I don't like. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm a grown ass woman. Like, that shit was nothing to me. Really why I've been confused all these fucking years. We go to the dinner, I don't acknowledge shorty, because again, she don't like me. Why would I speak to somebody that don't like me? Was I shady or anything? No. I spoke to everybody that I knew, all the new people I said hi to, and I just did not make no eye contact towards her. I did not speak to her, no nothing. I just act like me and her never knew each other, which at this point we don't. Boom. Yesterday is my friend's birthday daughter party. Again, I'm not gonna speak to a bitch that don't like me. I know you don't like me. Your best friend told me you don't like me. She told me you got an issue with me, so I'm not gonna speak to you. I speak to the whole party, everybody at the party, all the new people that I don't know again. Hi, how you doing? I wakes up to a text like, you up? No, I wasn't up. I wakes up to a phone call like, hey, boo. She like, hey, boo, I know it's the same thing over and over, whatever. Again, I'm not really catching on. I'm trying to listen. Long story short, the bitch had a problem. Oh, why she didn't speak to me? You're obsessed with me. You're pressed. You're obsessed with me and you're pressed. And this is why I don't have no respect for the conversation no more. I don't care to have I really have to tell my friend, at the end of the day, I'm your friend. Me and her not friends. That's your best friend. Me and you are friends. I don't care to be friends with that bitch. Me and that bitch do not gotta be friends. She don't like me. I don't know her. I don't give a fuck about her. She mad about something that I said when I was drunk that don't even make fucking sense to be mad over. But the thing is, you don't like me. But why are you pressed that I'm not acknowledging you? Why are you pressed that I'm not speaking to you? I'm literally confused. So now my friend like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna start doing things separately. Bitch, you could have been did that. I truly and honestly don't give a fuck. So now I'm at the point where, since you so obsessed, I'm just gonna find her Instagram and I'm just gonna write her myself, because I'm not doing this whole middleman thing. And I really didn't want to bring it to the internet because I don't want nobody in the comments like, oh, well, maybe your friend is going back. I truly don't think that's what it is. I truly think the bitch is just crazy. I truly think she's literally just crazy, because the thing about it is, I be around my friend more than she be around her best friend. They barely even be around each other. The bitches been fell off. And now that I think about it, I'm low-key starting to think that's what it is. Like, she felt like me and her best friend might be closer. Y'all know how it go. Like, you just had a baby. You see me and my homegirl, you and your home, whatever. Me and her still be out. You don't really get to be out with her like that. So you probably a little mad impressed. And it's coming from a different area, but you keep trying to make it seem like it's some shit that happened almost a fucking decade ago. Like, girl, get your motherfucking life. Like, I'm never going to be pressed about a bitch that I know don't like me. I'm never going to be pressed about a bitch. I'm never going to speak to a bitch that I know don't like me. It's not going to happen. Like, now, I don't like you. I don't like you. So don't ever speak to me, ever. Because now she coming with the making up stories like, yeah, she had the baby and she told your friend not to let me speak to, like, what? Now I'm like, come on, you putting people's kids in there. You doing too much. I can't even tell you what this girl had on yesterday, because that's how much I did not fucking acknowledge her or pay attention to her. So now it's giving you keep trying to make things up for what? How old are we? I don't know nothing about this bitch but that she's a girl with a baby. Oh, and that's my friend. But with, like, if there's no issue, you're making an issue for what? I would never, like, bitch, you live all the way in the Bronx and Kalaha land, and I live in the motherfucking Lower East Side. We don't run into each other. There's no need for us to even be around each other. So what are you mad for? What are you pressed for? What's your issue? But I'm gonna find out.
Okay, so everybody asked about the prom dress, so I'm gonna give you a story time about the prom dress. Okay, one, to even book with her, you need a consultation. A consultation is $100. You have to put a $50 deposit down for it, and then when you get there, you gotta pay her the extra $50. So that means, like, whatever y'all discuss about this, like, let's say you don't like the prom dress, you still have to pay her that $50. You still gotta pay her $100 for the consultation. Okay, so boom. Okay, so this is the prom dress that I wanted. It was gonna be like emerald green though. So keep in mind, this is how the dress is supposed to look. Okay, with that being the prom dress, we discussed fabric, colors, all that. And she told me the price, $2,500. I was like, okay, but the deposit is $1,500 within the 7 days after the consultation fee. And also during the consultation, if you do decide to get the dress, you gotta sign this contract. So this is the like mock-up sketch she did, like of the dress, and it do match the dress. And within the contract, like she put like the payment terms and if you want to rush order. Mind you, it says I don't want to rush order. And at the bottom, it's a social media conduct thing where basically saying I can't defame her on social media. And that's a big part of this whole situation. Keep in mind that I am 18 at this point, so this contract is valid because I didn't need a parent to sign it because I was 18. Also, within the contract, it says I require 2 fittings at her shop. Keep that in mind too. Also in the contract, it says both parties agree to make a good faith effort to resolve disputes amicably before pursuing legal action. Keep that in mind also. Now, for the refunds in the contract, it literally says acceptance may be made at the sole discretion at the designer in case of extraordinary circumstances. Boom. Okay, as you can see, I had sent her payments the March 17th. And after I had March 20th, she had said she got the payment. She had sent me an invoice, everything. So then March 20th, I asked her to discuss fittings. She asked me when's their prom date. I said May 2nd. She said we're gonna look to the dates. Boom. Didn't get a reply back. So mind you, April 1st, I texted her, hey, did you get the dates? She had said my fabric had just came in, so we were gonna look at the dates. Then I texted her again, April 3rd, did you get the bidding dates? No reply back. Text her April 8th, question mark. She said, give her a moment, it's just a lot. Okay, and I get that, it's a lot. Prom season is a lot. So I gave her a grace. Texted her again at April 15th, did you figure out the dates? She told me herself, come in April 23rd at 6 p.m. I agreed to come, and then just 4 hours before, she canceled an appointment. No reason behind it, just say, hey, we need to cancel. Why? Okay, I couldn't get the frame enough, so I'm just gonna say what I said. I said I haven't had at least one fitting when I was guaranteed 2 of them. I have been real patient, but my promise next Friday I already called off work for this. She then said, you're still going to have 2 fittings, love. It will be the first week of May and the second week right before prom. Mind you, it's April 23rd. It is the week before prom. And May 2nd, that's the first week of May. So I'm like, maybe she had my prom dates confused. So then my mother, she texted her and called her. I don't have the messages. They on Facebook though. So then she put us, me and my mother, in a group chat. And as you can see, this group chat got very intense and very long. Now, here comes a random assistant named Becca. Now, we already know about her first assistant, Tootie, because Tootie was texting my phone also telling me she had my payments. So we already know about Tootie. We've seen Tootie before. Becca, this is new. I've never heard about Becca. I've never seen Becca. So she just out of the blue came. Basically, to sum up this long message, she says they gave me an option for the 28th and 29th as a reschedule. Nobody gave me a reschedule at all. Okay, this is the message they sent us. It's a long message, so pause to read that. But I'm going to sum it up. Basically asking if we wanted to cancel, we got to submit a canceling form, and then if we still wanted to continue with the dress, we can't do the 28th no more because it's filled in, so I have to come in the 29th. Keep in mind, the 28th, in the contract, it says when my dress is due. Before this whole little group chat, my mother asked her to send her a picture of the dress. She said, if you send us a picture, we'll leave you alone, we'll let you do what you gotta do. She said, I cannot do that. So that led us to believe she didn't have the dress. Mind you, we booked in March 10th. This is April 23rd here. Okay, so we went back and forth by the 28th, 29th, 28th, 29th. So I just said, fuck it. We're going to do the 29th. We'll see the 29th. Boom, there was a post made. My mother did. Mind you, my mother did not sign a contract with her. I did. So she cannot say that my mother can't say nothing on social media because my mother didn't do a contract with her. I did. Everybody had assumed it was Kimberly. My mom didn't say names. People knew it was Kimberly. No one said her name. Boom, another girl who got her prom dress from her before had basically said, like, oh, Kimberly the best in the city, also in the third. My friend wanted her post and tell her about my situation. I commented under her post and said, literally, promise next week and I don't have a dress. Mind you, Kimberly was under that post that I commented under, so I'm pretty sure she's seen that comment. Y'all, then in the group chat, she told my mother needs to send her a written apology on Facebook, adding highlights in followers. My mother tells her hell no, which she should, because she doesn't need to do apology. You're a grown-ass woman. Grow up. So I resend my prom dress. The picture I show, I resend the prom dress. I said, just to make sure we are all on the same playing level. Then she acts confused about the dress, she never seen that dress before. Like, she just acting so confused about, like, she was asking stuff that we had already said in consultation. So that was really let us know that she never started this dress. Boom. Okay, a few days before the fitting that we were scheduled to meet on the 29th, she texted me. She sent me screenshots of the post that I commented under. Now, she asks me, is this me talking and me being tagged? Mind you, that's my first and last name, so clearly it's me. And second, my mother has the same initials. The second being tagged is not me, that's my mother, Alicia Wright. So boom, I didn't respond. Because it's like, what does it matter? Like, you know it's me, why'd I respond to that? Like, I didn't defame you, like, it was true. I promised next week, and I don't have a dress. So then a couple days later, Becca texted me and said, hey, are we still on for the fitting on the 29th? I then text back, because mind you, I have been ignoring her about the whole screenshot of the comment. This is very crazy. So this is Kimberly right here. She said, since I ignore her about the post, we have to meet at a separate time about the post. Mind you, we were already meeting today about the fitting. So I said, we're meeting today at noon. We can talk about it at noon. So what she tried to do was make me cancel. So she said, no, we have to come to an agreement at Starbucks at Miller Parkway, which is far from me. So I said, no. Mind you, we're already meeting today at noon. Why would we need to meet somewhere else at an earlier time when we're already meeting at noon? That would make sense. Mind you, I had school. So I told her, no, that's not going to happen. So I give her another place at this hotel. We meet there. So mind you, the fitting in the contract, the fitting said I'm supposed to meet at her shop, not the Marriott. So we had to do the fitting at the Marriott, but mind you, we didn't do the fitting. She came in with a whole different contract. This is the new contract she came in. When we're supposed to have a fitting, she wanted to talk about Facebook and social media. During this, I deleted that comment that you had already seen. I deleted the comment. She wanted me to have my mother sign a contract too. Mind you, I'm 18. My mother does not need to sign a contract, so that is dumb. And then at the bottom, it literally says, for me to get my address, me and my mother both have to sign the contract and delete every post we have made. Mind you, so when she first walked into the Marriott, her assistant Tootie came from the left, she came from the right. She didn't think we seen that. So when I told her I wasn't signing the contract, first of all, when we actually see the dress before we sign the contract, she wouldn't see the dress. That's because she didn't have the dress ready. All she had was the corset that she said. Mind you, she would let me see the dress. I don't know what she had. Her and her assistant Tootie both drove out in the car, but mind you, she not thinking we seen her come in her car. So we waited outside until she came back to come get her car, which she did like 5 minutes later. Okay, you see all this? She called the police. Okay, boom, she called the police because she wanted to stay in Tootie's car, but we was waiting outside for her, so she called the police. So the police had basically said it was a civil matter, but he also did say I have a case on my head and I can win my case. So she sends me this, after the whole situation, she sent me this long message basically saying she's not doing my dress no more. She's canceling everything. No refunds, no nothing. So we're suing her. I summed it up the best I can, y'all, because this is a whole lot. But, like, that's most of what happened about the dress. So she's more mad about me saying on Facebook that I didn't have a dress than actually doing my dress. Like, had she took the time and stopped arguing with me to do my dress, she would have had the dress done. But she don't have the dress done. So she thinks she's just going to keep $1,500 out of me and not give me no money back. So we're suing her.